Picture yourself locked in a rusted iron cage, dangling high above a town square. The wind howls. Your stomach twists with hunger. Below, a crowd stares. Some jeer, others whisper prayers. You're not just dying, you're on display. This is the gibbet, a medieval punishment that turned humans into scarecrows. It wasn't quick. It was cruel, slow, and public. Why did they do this? Who ended up in those cages? And what did it feel like to rot in plain sight? Today, we're diving into the gibbet's dark history, its victims, its terror, and a twist that'll chill you. Stick around. This one's grim, but you won't look away. Let's go back to medieval Europe around the 13th century. Towns were rough. Crime was everywhere, and rulers needed control. Hanging was too quick. They wanted something worse. Enter the gibbet, a metal cage, custom built to hold a living person hung high on a pole or gallows. Think of it as a bird cage for humans, only there's no seed or water, just you, the sky, and time. It started in places like England and France, where justice was a show. Steal bread? Betray the king? You could end up caged, left to starve or freeze. The gibbet wasn't just punishment, it was a warning. Cross us, the powerful said, and this is you. By the 1600s, it was everywhere. Towns, squares, crossroads, even ports. Pirates, traders, thieves, no one was safe. And the worst part? Everyone could see you suffer. Why so public? Imagine you're a peasant in 1700. You walk to market, and there's a gibbet swaying above. A figure inside, maybe alive, maybe not, creaks in the wind. You'd think twice about stealing. That was the point. The gibbet was propaganda, a billboard of fear. It wasn't enough to kill. They needed to humiliate, to break your spirit before your body gave out. Crowds gathered, not just for justice, but for gossip. "Who's in there?" they'd whisper. "What did they do?" Some threw stones. Others brought food, sneaking it to the caged out of pity. It was human nature, cruelty mixed with compassion. The gibbet played on that. It made you feel the victim's fear, their shame. And deep down you wondered, could that be me? That's what kept towns in line. Fear, staring down from a cage. Let's get dark. The gibbet was simple, but brutal. Picture a cage, iron bars, sometimes wood, shaped like a human body. Your arms, legs, and head were locked in, no room to sit or stretch. Some were so tight you couldn't move, others let you writhe, making it worse. They'd hoist it up 10, 20 feet on a pole, gallows, or city wall. No shelter. Rain soaked you, sun burned you, nights froze you. Hunger gnawed first, then thirst. You'd scream, beg, but the crowd below? They'd watch, maybe laugh. Death came slow, days, sometimes weeks. Starvation, exposure, or infection got you. And if you were already dead, they'd cage your corpse anyway, letting it rot for all to see. The creak of that cage in the wind? That's the sound of despair. The gibbet's design was evil genius. Blacksmiths crafted each one to fit. Some were crude, others ornate, like twisted art. In England, they called it hanging in chains when they used shackles instead of a full cage. Pirates got special treatment. Cages shaped like gibbets lined docks, their bones bleaching in the salt air. The height was key. Up high, you were a spectacle, visible for miles. Some gibbets stayed up for years, the skeleton inside a grim landmark. "Meet me by the gibbet," folks would say, like it was normal. And the smell? Imagine rotting flesh in summer heat. Townsfolk lived with it, a constant reminder, obey or end up there. The gibbet didn't just kill, it haunted. But who were these people, trapped like animals? Meet John Painter, a 17th century highwayman. He robbed travelers on England's roads, a dashing rogue, until they caught him. In 1660, they locked him in a gibbet outside London. He screamed for days, begging for water. The crowd watched, some tossing bread, others stones. He lasted a week. Then there's Margaret Clark, accused of witchcraft in 1690. No trial, just rumors. They caged her in a Scottish village, her cries echoing at night. She was dead in days, but the cage stayed up for months. Pirates like William Kidd faced it too, his body gibbeted by the Thames in 1701, a warning to sailors. These weren't just criminals, they were people, fathers, sisters, dreamers, reduced to spectacles. And that's what hits hard. One wrong step, and it could have been you. Not everyone in a gibbet was guilty. Take the Covenanters, Scottish rebels in the 1680s, fighting for their faith. They were caged for treason, their cages dotting hillsides. Innocent or not, it didn't matter. The gibbet was a tool for power. Women especially suffered, labeled witches or adulterers. They were easy targets. Imagine being a mother, torn from your kids, caged because a neighbor lied. The crowd's gaze burned worse than the sun. Some victims were already executed, their corpses gibbeted to extend the punishment. In England, bodies stayed up until they crumbled, bones falling through bars. The gibbet didn't care who you were. It stripped you of everything, name, dignity, hope, and the crowd. They were part of it, their cheers or silence sealing your fate. Let's set the scene. It's 1705, a foggy English town. A gibbet sways over the square, a young thief, let's call her Eliza, locked inside. She's barely 20, caught stealing silver. Her voice cracks, pleading for mercy. The cage creaks, iron biting her skin. Below, the crowd's a mix. Merchants scowl, kids gape, a priest mutters prayers. Someone throws a rotten apple. Another slips her water, risking a guard's glare. Days pass. Eliza's voice fades, her head slumps. The crowd thins, but the cage stays, a silent sermon. This was the gibbet's power, a live show of human suffering. Townsfolk went to bed hearing those cries, waking to that creaking cage. It wasn't just punishment, it was theater, and everyone played a part. The gibbet worked because it was human. It played on our fears, being trapped, exposed, forgotten. Crowds weren't just cruel, they were conflicted. Some saw justice, others saw themselves one mistake away from the cage. That's why gibbets lined roads and ports, not hidden in dungeons. They screamed, "This could be you." In London, gibbets were landmarks like twisted statues. Sailors passing execution docks saw pirate cages, their bones rattling. Kids grew up with these sights, learning fear before fairness. But it wasn't foolproof. Some crowds pitied the caged, smuggling food or cutting them down. Human hearts fought back, even in the darkest times. That's what makes the gibbet so haunting. It showed us at our worst, and sometimes our best. By the 1800s, the gibbet started to fade. Enlightenment thinkers, folks like Voltaire, called it barbaric. Cruelty isn't justice, they argued. Laws changed. England banned gibbeting in 1834 after public outcry. People were tired of rotting cages, of kids growing up with skeletons overhead. Prisons and quicker executions took over, but the gibbet left scars. Ghost stories sprouted, haunted gibbets, wailing spirits. In Cornwall, they still talk of Gibbet Hill, where shadows move at night. The cages are gone, but their echo lingers. Why? Because the gibbet wasn't just iron and bone, it was a mirror showing what fear can make us do. And that's the twist. We built those cages and we cheered. What does that say about us? The gibbet lives on, not in iron, but in stories. Horror films love it. Think creaky cages and Pirates of the Caribbean. Books, too. Dickens wrote of chains dangling in the fog. Even now, true crime fans hunt old gibbet sites, chasing chills. On X, people share sketches of rusted cages, calling them medieval nightmares. The gibbet's power is its relatability. We all fear being trapped, judged, left to rot. Modern punishments, public shaming, cancel culture echo it just without the bars. The gibbet reminds us cruelty's human, but so is mercy. Those who slip food to the caged, who fought to end it, they're us too. That's why this story sticks. It's not just history, it's who we are. Think about Eliza, our thief. She wasn't born a criminal. Maybe she stole to eat, to survive. But the gibbet didn't care. It caged her, and the crowd watched. What would you do? Cheer? Help? Look away? The gibbet forces that question. It's easy to judge from afar, harder when you feel their hunger, their cold. History's full of cages, some iron, some not. The gibbet's gone, but its lesson isn't. We decide who's caged, who's free. That's the real chill, not the bars, but the choice. So what do we choose today? Mercy or the mob? This story's not just dark, it's a warning, one we can't ignore. We're done, but let's linger. The gibbet wasn't just a cage, it was us. Our fear, our judgment, our flicker of kindness. Its creak still echoes, from medieval squares to our screens. So, what's the darkest punishment you've heard of? The gibbet? Something worse? Drop it in the comments. I'm all ears. If this tale gripped you, smash that like button. It helps more than you know. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into history's shadows. More grim stories are coming, and trust me, they'll haunt you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. One last thing, some gibbets held bodies for decades, bones falling like grim confetti. Twisted, right? Stick around for more dark tales in our next video.